This is a replay of office hours where we come live once a week and members ask questions, share advice, and get guidance on life and calling. If you'd like to attend live, go to churchforentrepreneurs.com and RSVP and come live at our next office hours. Now, let's take a listen to this week's replay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us here for office hours. This is our first attempt at doing, not first attempt, but this is our adjusted time on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Because of the conflicts on Wednesday. Now that the academic year started back up, and I have to be in school for meetings and stuff on Wednesday. So this is our next time slot to do it in. So that's the announcement for today. Everything else in terms of church entrepreneurs is the same. I can tell you what I'm thinking about. So I just spent the last few days using Claude to design websites. And that's been a very interesting experience in terms of using AI tools to build websites. One thing I can say is that the tools are really, really good, and it can allow you to deploy a website in a day where it may have taken you weeks of working with programmers to get it done. I definitely can say that, right? So what I did this week was, as I told you guys, I was thinking about launching a premarital counseling service to work with couples who are thinking about getting engaged. This will happen before the ring, of course. You guys gave me some good ideas for titles. So what I did was I used Claude to help flush out the ideas and then design the website. I think most of the time took with flushing ideas out more so than design the website. And then another cool feature that happened was I let Stephanie take a look at the website. She gave me some immediate feedback, and I was able to take that entire feedback, drop it in Claude, and ask them to give me some suggestion of reworking the web page based on feedback. And within pretty much in a few minutes, it kind of spun up a whole new website incorporating the feedback. So in the past, that would have taken another 2 days of just trying to redo everything. So I really liked how that turned out. So I have a lot of thoughts around that, and I can share you guys my thoughts around that process and how I can see how that can be part of you guys' workflow going forward, and how it could probably save you time and what it probably is good for, and what are maybe some of the pitfalls and maybe trying to go with an AI built website. I'll let you guys take a look at what was created so you guys get a feel for how it looked. Let me drop it in the chat window so y'all want to take a look at it. Also, what I did was, since I started building websites in Claude, I designed a new website for Church for Entrepreneurs as the front page. So instead of people coming directly into the actual Mighty Networks, they land on the front page that explains what CFE is first before they actually go into the actual community. So I can drop that in the chat too. You can see what that new thing looks like too. So it's live now. So with all that, I will pause and see what you guys want to talk about. If you guys want to ask me any questions about that, just whatever you guys want to talk about. Take a look at what you see. Tell me what you think about the two sites. See what you think about them. So I'll just pause. You guys unmute, ask me any questions, or change the subject. Whatever you guys want to do.
That looks good, man. I mean, so you just typed in what you wanted and Claude did that?
Yeah, pretty much. I had to give it a color scheme, of course.
Okay.
Basically took the basic colors from our website and kind of gave the color scheme. Yeah, most of the work, especially the premarital one, most of the work was really mapping out, creating like what I call a product requirement document. So basically, what I did was I just worked with Claude for hours working out the requirements, what a actual service would look like. And then once we worked out that service, then I was able to send that to their designer to actually build out the site. So that was kind
Okay.
of the process. So you definitely need to start from building a requirement document first about the actual underlying business first. Then you can take that into the web builder, because if you start with the web builder first, you're going to just get garbage. So we used to have the thing like garbage in, garbage out. So you
Yeah,
got to start with a solid requirement document first. So yeah, definitely.
that's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Um, I do have some thoughts on my mind, man, about what's going on in our world today.
Okay, go
That's
ahead. That's what we're here to talk about.
troublesome. I am so tired of seeing the foolishness of our
Mm,
society today. We can't define what a woman is, and
hmm
it's just I mean, I'm just really trying to wrap my head around this, man. Are we just really that ignorant or just that deceived? You know what I mean? As far as something as basic as that. And
Hmm.
I'm looking at this WNBA, and you mean to tell me y'all can't decide or you don't know what a man is and what a woman is. And so I'm just looking
Hmm.
at just, just our culture and the thought processes of people is like left is right and up is down, and we pick and choose what we want to believe in the Bible. And I was trying to think of that scripture. I was kind of looking at it briefly when you first started. I think it's Second Timothy, either one or something, talking about itching ears or perilous times. I know it's in either Peter or Timothy, one of them. And I'm just, what's the other word? Sexual perversion, transgenderism, and just all kind of stuff, man. Homosexual. It's like we really are a messed up society, man, messed up world in large degree. And so I'm just trying to think how so many smart people supposedly can be deceived, and just the things that they
Hmm.
believe. And they're very
Yeah.
accomplished in so many other areas of life, but you believe you can't define what a woman is, man, or it's just so I'm just really baffled and shocked by that. I don't know, it's just really wild.
Yeah. Yeah. In scripture, I don't know where it's at. It said how that in the last times,
Yeah,
people will call the truth, call a lie the truth and the truth a lie.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's what I
And
was
so
thinking
it's
about.
really just, it's a deception that if you think about it from a non-biblical perspective, right? We got to go to their thought process, right? So this is my speculation here, right? Besides the fact that, once your mind gets darker, you can go to all kind of places, right? So if you're under the notion that there should be no inherent differences between men and women, the next logical conclusion, I think, is to allow people to choose how they want to represent themselves in society, right? I think it just goes that far because my daughter was talking to me about their people who are now trying to identify as pets, and they
Yeah, well,
hire
I mean, yeah,
people to like
I
walk
can't
them
say I'm a
around New
garage
York, right?
door. I
Yeah, yeah.
identify as a garage door, or I identify as a car. I identify as
Hmm.
a billionaire, so let me work on Wall Street. So just because you say I'm a car, don't make you a car. And just
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
identify as a woman, don't make me a woman. So, I
yeah,
mean, animals don't get confused. How do mankind
yeah,
get confused?
yeah.
That's just asinine, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just seeing more and more stuff about that, and it's so open now. It's just broad. It's just out there, and
yeah,
so it's just,
yeah,
man, we need folks need Jesus, man. Ain't no doubt about it.
yeah, yeah. It is. I think once you go down the road of believing a lie, you got to see it out to its natural conclusion because you can't be it's almost like you can't your ego won't allow you to say something contrary, right? So if you ask somebody who believes in transgenderness, and you ask them like, "What's a woman? What's a man?" They literally can't give you an answer because they give you an answer that breaks their entire world view, right? So for them, they got to always sidestep the question because, like, the moment they give an answer, it breaks the entire world view. And so, if you're trying to keep the construct in your mind, you got to keep deceiving yourself on all kind of different levels, right? So I think it's craziness, but it's understandable through scripture that these are the types of things that happen in last times.
I mean, we're seeing scripture live manifesting right before our eyes, man.
Hmm.
Just the way I never thought we would be here today, man. 'Cause looking at how old I am now,
Hmm.
50 years ago, nobody was talking like this, acting like this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now it's, man, this is what you see and hear every single day. And it's
Yeah.
just crazy, man. I just never thought. You see that stuff in scripture saying this is what it's going to be like in the last days. But now to see it, it's just
Hmm.
really something, man.
Yeah. 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 And it's only really a small percentage of the population that's deceived like this.
You think
But it's
so?
yeah, it's only a small percentage to see. The rest of the population are afraid to call them out. right?
Now
That
that
that's
part I agree.
that's what's
They're very,
happening, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Because
very
yeah,
quiet.
yeah. So like even when they talk about identities, you can tell people really don't agree with it. They just trying to toe the road, like because they got to, because once they if they don't, then they kind of get kicked out their quote unquote tribe, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, so it's important for us, to stay grounded in the truth, and don't let don't let the craziness get to us, right? God says, the wisdom of the world is foolishness. So the foolishness of God, how did God say this? Uh,
Confound something.
it confounds the wise. The confusion of God confounds the wise, right? So the
Yeah.
so the people of the world look at God's way of doing things and thinks it's foolish, right? And so they're literally blinded to actually see the errors of their ways, right? I mean, things are so obvious, right? I was taught when I was in graduate school. Yeah, I can. We can't hear you. You trying to talk, Latoria? Yeah, we can't hear anything. Try it again. Yeah, I don't hear anything. Y'all hear anything, Latoria? Is it just me?
No.
Yeah, she's off mute. Definitely, she's off mute, but we're not hearing you say anything. Maybe like a physical button got pushed in your microphone or something.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear. I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, but now I can't hear you because I put you on speaker. Hold on.
Okay. So we got trade offs, right? Yeah, yeah.
Can you
So
hear me?
yeah, we hear you.
Is it really loud on my background?
No, no, you're good.
Okay, so this is an interesting topic. Gotta be right on time. So I'm so happy that you're doing this today because my other days are like, I don't have an opportunity to jump on. Wednesdays are usually packed. I have youth group. And then just anyways, I'm so happy when I saw, I was like, oh, wow, let me jump on. And it just so happened that this is the conversation that you all are having. So let me give a little bit of background, right? I put my daughter in public school, sixth grade.
Hmm.
Of all the grades I did not want to put my child in, it was middle school when we were homeschooling. I was so against putting them in middle school. But against my better judgment, I did so anyway and sent her to public school for one complete year.
Hmm.
Um, and let's just say all chaos, everything, just everything that Mike was talking about right now, everything,
Yeah,
all of it.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, just struggling, self-harm. Um, she was Baker acted this year. All of it. Everything you can
Hmm.
possibly think could happen, like all of it, every single thing, struggling with her identity, all of it.
Hmm.
Um, so today, because like I'm asking her, I asked her like, honey, just tell me what's going on. Tell me what's wrong. I asked her straight up, did something that hurt you? Because why are you hurting yourself? Right? Trying to get to the bottom of it. But she'd say, no, no one's ever hurt me. Has someone ever touched you uncomfortably? Because I want to get to the bottom of why are you hurting you? Like, why are you so against you? You know?
Yeah.
Um, and she wants to commit suicide, these thoughts of suicide. I don't want to live. I want to, you know what I mean? Like just negative, just all negative. And so like slowly but surely, like we started like seeing things like with the manga and the anime, same sex,
Hmm.
um, two male characters. I think who are like My Hero Academia. I think like
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
writer who wrote them, the two characters are not necessarily in love with each other, but I guess someone took it and twisted it and made those two
Hmm.
characters like have this like strong sexual or whatever. But anyway, so she was just we found that on like her like social, and she doesn't have access to social, but she found a way to do it anyway. Download them on her iPad and her feed, and it was just all like dark stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and so I'm sorry, I'm walking. Let me just that's right. I actually my background is loud because I'm actually at the gym. Um, but I had said today, I would just, but I'm saying all this to say, like, all while talking to her, all while trying to get her to feel comfortable and create a safe space where she can be open with me to tell me
Yeah.
what's going on because I couldn't pinpoint it. right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I know there's something there, because why else do you feel this way? There's
Yeah.
deeper, and she's always like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't know," and maybe she doesn't know because she doesn't know, but
Mm-hmm.
because she doesn't have the words to describe it yet. She's only 12
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
Um, but I believe she doesn't know because the things that she's interested in and the things that she's spending her time in um is against, or it's contrary to our worldview, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
today she said to me for the first time, because we're back to homeschooling again, because I just want to instill some of those values, whatever I can, back into her,
Mm-hmm.
um, for the most part. And it's kind of difficult to do that while working full time. But anyways, I today she was like, asked me a question. She's like, "Mommy, would you still love me if I was bisexual?" So let me go back a little bit and say, one day she was sitting at the dinner table and she had like a bunch of writings on her hand. And I just
Mm-hmm.
happened to glance over, and there was two things. One of them said bye, and the other one said demi girl. And I said to her, I
Mm-hmm.
said, "What's a demi girl?" She's like, "I don't know. It just means," and like, she won't tell me what it means. I'm like, "Honey, you know I deal with words a lot. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
love words. You know, I'm an interventionist. Um, so the words and study of words and etymology and all these other things, words.
Mm-hmm.
Their root words, where they come from. What's
Yeah.
demi,
Yeah.
right?"
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, and I said, "Honey, that means half. Demi means half. It's usually like, we talk about Greek gods, demigods. It's half
Mm-hmm.
god, half
Mm-hmm.
man, right?"
Yeah.
And what's a demi girl? I wanted her to tell me. I want her to tell me exactly what it is, why she's doing these things, but she just wouldn't. But anyways, you start putting pieces together. And today she asked me a question: "Mommy, would you still love me if I was bisexual?"
Mm-hmm.
So it led me to ask more questions. And I told her, I want to answer your question because I care about you, but I also want to know where did what prompted you to ask that
Mm-hmm.
question. And so,
Yeah.
anyways, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
um, in that situation. And I also feel like we're just in a time, because my I was talking to my friend about this earlier, and she was saying that because I was like, "Where's this coming from?" She's like, "Toya, where is it not coming from?
Yeah.
It's in the
Yeah.
schools, it's in the
Mm-hmm.
shows, it's in the
Mm-hmm.
it's in the markets, it's in everywhere. Where is
Mm-hmm.
it not coming from? It's full
Yeah.
on, it's a full on bloodbath. Like, you can't escape it. There's nothing you can do." And I don't think it's a matter of escaping it. I think it's a matter of, hey, let's think about these ideas, because this TikTok generation doesn't necessarily question it. They just take everything at face value and question nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of where I'm at with her. Just kind of asking her these questions. Um, what do you think about that? Just kind of just asking questions. I ask a lot of questions. She asks me a question, I ask her a question. It's always questions, trying to just get more out
Mm-hmm.
of her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Well, it's good that you have the dialogue open, right? You said your daughter is 12.
She's 12,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, 'cause I know when one of our daughters, when she was in her middle school years, she had a brief spout of identity issues that, and even though she was going to a Christian school, and we had to walk through and talk her through that, right? Um, I think what's happening here is that us as adults, Christian adults, we were formed in a time when most of society was basically had a Christian ethic on the outside, even though they didn't live it on the inside, right? So on the outside, you kind of the Christian ethic was reinforced on the outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't have to internalize other thought process during our formative years. Because when you're like 10 to 13, you're forming your identity, you're forming who you are, right? And
Yep,
so for us coming through that generation, our identity was formed basically through Christian principles, even if people weren't quote unquote Christian, right? They had the
that's true.
basic ideals of Christianity floating around. marriage, men, women, relationship structures, right? Morality, right and wrong. Because even our cartoon on Saturday morning we grew up with, they had very strict standards what could be shown, what couldn't be shown
Mm-hmm.
to kids,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So we kind of grew up in a generation where, I mean, of course, we all still rebel, but it wasn't because we got bombarded with the quote unquote the wrong thing, right? So
Yeah.
now,
Because
as a
even the
now, go
Huxtables
ahead.
the other day, we were
Yeah.
watching the Huxtables,
Hmm.
and Cosby's dad says, "In your name." He's talking about Father in your name. I'm like, honey, they're praying. That doesn't
Hmm.
happen on today's
Yeah.
shows. You know what I
At
mean?
all. Yeah. At all. Right. At all. And so, yeah. So I think for us, and then Mike was saying, it seems like craziness. The reason I feel like craziness to us because we already have on the right armor and a shield to block it, right?
Mm,
As adults, right? We've been formed, right? That we got the armor of God on us, right?
yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can walk through the craziness and we're looking at everybody else like what's going on with these everybody, right? Because
Yeah.
we are immune to it in some sense, right? I mean, of course, if we sit in it, we can lose some of the immunity like kryptonite or something. But for the most part, if you're a believer that's over 30 or 40 years old and you've been walking with God for like a decade or two, you kind of got some immunity pills against some of the crazy in society, right?
Mm,
so
yeah.
you don't notice it, right? So you don't notice it, right? And so we need people to who can tell us what's really going on in society, right? Because they'll see it before we see it, right? Because we're just it's like we got this everything's blocking it, so we don't see it. My encouragement is just prayer, keep her in a homeschool environment, keep her asking questions. Because what helps form identity is when people can really see who they are through Christ, and they have to feel like they're seeing it without being forced into it,
Yeah.
right? Because like it has to be her faith at some point, right? It can't be
Yeah. And
mom's faith, right?
I was reminded by Vodi Bakum that our children are basically un unrepentant, right? So they haven't been consecrated yet. They haven't been um that's the word he used, but they basically haven't made up their mind to be followers of Christ, right? They haven't done that.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we love them and we protect them, and it's our like it's mommy's faith right now. She doesn't necessarily
Hmm.
she hasn't adopted the faith come into that yet. So I
Okay.
100% agree. And then another
Yeah.
thing too is I'm trying to teach her the chew and spit method.
Yeah. Hey, hold
Um,
on a second, Latoya. I need to go do something real quick. Hey, Stephanie, you can jump in and share? I'll be right back.
Yeah, my heart goes out to you, Toya.
Thank you.
I have a daughter that went through a similar situation, but she was in college. Okay,
She
and
was much older. Wow.
much older, right? But same, just went off the rails from what she was taught. Okay,
Yeah.
and it was going on for a while or whatever, and I would see things and everything because I'm always on their social media, whatever. And I remember she came home for Christmas one time, and you know and I confronted her, and she told me the truth and everything. And I reinforced to her, because one thing that I did do, I made a lot of mistakes parenting, but I did teach them the word of God. I taught them to know God for themselves, to have a relationship with God for themselves. And I just reinforced, the word of God and what she had been taught. And, it took some time and everything, but she experienced something, kind of tragic in what she was living through and everything, how she was rebelling and everything. But
Mhm.
the Lord prevailed, and now that particular daughter is leading a Bible study of her peers.
Thank God.
So I just wanted
Amen.
to encourage you to stand fast in
Yeah.
your what you have taught her, and
Yeah.
stand
Hmm.
fast on the word, and don't accept this stuff that the world is trying to throw at your daughter.
Yeah.
Let her know that you love her, but you also gonna stand for righteousness.
Amen.
And so I don't know. Every situation is different. You got to pray, but that's I just wanted to encourage you that I went through the similar thing. The child was much older, and I didn't have, she was not in my home. I couldn't do nothing. But,
Mm.
it was very, it was very, what's the word? I just was confounded. I just,
I think me too. I think,
and, and,
yeah.
and, and, but I also recognized the deception that was going on. And I recognized some of the things that, you know, how Satan was using, um, her parents' um, shortcomings to
Mm-hmm.
exploit,
Mm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But like I said, I stood on the truth, and
Yeah.
I stood on the word, and thank God that he is not a man that he should lie. And like I said, that daughter is she started a Bible study of her peers.
Mhm. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Abernine, as I'm saying that right, Abernina. Go ahead,
Abriana.
Abriana. Okay, go ahead.
One, I'm praying for you as a fellow homeschool mom. I recognize that while we want to be the primary influence in our children's lives, sometimes we just aren't. And they're inundated with images in the media, the music. Um,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so in my house, and I'm not speaking for what you have to do in your house, but we don't listen to secular music because all music is worship. And
Yeah.
so you don't always see the covert ways that the enemy is influencing your children. Like you said, you tried to stop her from going on social media, but the TV shows, Disney Channel, things like that, they're constantly bombarded with these things that are teaching them that who they are. And like you said, in your formative years, so they don't have a guard up. They're not
Mm-hmm.
looking through the lens of, I know, or excuse me, of godly wisdom to say that's not right. So I want to encourage you, one, to stay strong. You're going to be fighting this fight for a long time. She's just getting started. My kids are 12 and 10, and I'm fighting it. Everything I've got is going into showing them not who they are, but whose they are. And so keeping them connected to who the Father is, the fact that you are carrying his spirit, therefore you need to operate as he tells you to operate, is our primary focus all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's less about who the media is telling them they get to be or have to be in order to be acceptable in society. And it's more about being grounded in understanding the character of God, and therefore I need to reflect that character. Um, I would say if you can, and I know it's hard, maybe turn off the TV, spend more time reading the word. Our Bible study is fun time. We're not doing, I guess, what you would call the traditional Bible study, and it's not browbeating or fire and brimstone. We're recognizing the character of God. We're recognizing the character of Christ and how it can be applied to everyday life. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not making a judgment on what's happening in your house. You're probably doing all of this, but just keep doing it, and maybe spend and allow for less time in media because it's coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just you can't escape it.
No.
The shows that I thought were safe, like here, it's
Mm-hmm.
being presented again. So we turn it off, and it seems like as parents we feel bad about isolating our kids from that stuff, but it's necessary in their formative years. Their brain is not fully formed, and so these ideas, life often imitates art. And so when you are seeing these images and it seems okay in society because they have to go out there and function in society, they're like, okay, well, this is the identity that I have to take on. Turn it
Yeah.
off. Turn it
And
off.
it should
Be-
she did say to me, she did say, Mommy, I didn't say, I just said, what if? I'm like, honey, we don't just, we don't just ask questions sometimes without there being some sort of interest.
Right.
And I'm telling you, there's been signs, right?
Right.
Like there's been, you wrote something on your hand the other
Mhm.
day. The reels that was just gunk. It was the
Mhm.
same repetition over
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
over and
And like you
over
said,
again.
she doesn't have the vocabulary to tell you right now, but she's being influenced.
She is.
And
She is.
and it's up to us. And like I said, I know parenting now, gentle parenting and all this other crap. No. You have the medium, you're homeschooling your child. You can direct that curriculum. You can direct what she's got access to.
And I was
Listen.
thinking to myself, because I'm like, okay, because now I'm thinking about, I'm reading the book by Hilary Ferrer and I forget the other lady's name, but it's apologetics, Mama Bear Apologetics. And so one method I'm trying to teach her right now is this chew and spit idea, right?
Mhm.
And it was like, I said, you ever heard of that? She's like, no, what is that? And so we got to talk about it yesterday, even with my 8-year-old, chew and spit. I said, honey, there's a lot of ideas out there. They're floating around. But some ideas are not all good.
Right.
And so you have to know which ideas to sit there, because some ideas are good too, right? But some are
Mhm.
bad. And the author uses the analogy of how she is allergic to peas, or did just have a bad reaction to peas. So the first thing somebody gives her some fried rice, she sits there and she picks out the
All
peas,
the peas.
right?
Yeah.
She picks out the peas. She doesn't necessarily throw the rice away, because the rice is beneficial, but the peas aren't for her.
Yeah.
So same thing. It's like I was talking to them about chew and spit. I said, honey, there's a lot of ideas coming your way and you just accept them. You don't stop and think, oh, wait a minute, maybe this is an idea that I need to spit out, right?
Mhm.
Even last night, my husband 2 nights ago, he cleaned up the kitchen. He was in there cooking. I mean, he cooked a full on meal. He cleaned the meat, he cooked the meat, cooked rice. Food was delicious. We had lunch the next day. So me and her were in there in the kitchen yesterday, and my husband's like, I love seeing you two in the kitchen. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love seeing the ladies in the kitchen.
Mhm.
My 12-year goes and says, Daddy, that's not right. I think that's sexist. I'm like, wait a minute, honey. What do you mean you think that's sexist? She's like, yeah, because that's not, Daddy shouldn't say that. I'm like, wait, so we shouldn't be in here. We made the mess in the kitchen. You baked the cookies. We made this big mess. You didn't say it was sexist when Daddy was in here cleaning the kitchen and he was in here slaving away. Did you say that? Right? When we talk about these ideas, chew and spit
Mhm.
ideas, these chew and spit. Maybe that's an idea you may want to think about, right? So that's where we are right now.
And I
Oh,
think that's really, really good, teaching her critical thinking, because our children, like you said, are not taught to question anything. And actually, it's designed into the school system for them not to question, just to accept everything, take the rhetoric, regurgitate it, and live
and
on
that's
it.
it.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
so
Mhm.
critical thinking is not encouraged. In fact, it is actively discouraged. Another thing, and I'll ask you this question: when y'all are studying the word, do you kind of like gloss over the stuff that seems a little inappropriate for her age group?
No, I don't
Okay,
gloss over it. Let me see. I
okay,
can't gloss over anything anymore. And the
yeah,
reason why I can't gloss, I thought my daughter was like, I could shelter her a little bit.
yes,
She went to public school for 1 year too, by the way. This is her
right.
first year back with us. Um, I can't gloss over. I can't sugarcoat anything. I give it to her 100% raw
Good,
because
okay,
she's been exposed.
exactly.
So,
Exactly. And
Hey,
that
hey
was
guys,
that's
let's
why it was
bring
my question, because we gloss over it thinking like you said, we're sheltering them, but they are not sheltered in the world. And
no,
they will get the wrong idea before they're given the right idea. And they won't have anything to compare it to and see if it's contra biblical and if it's counter to how God says it's supposed to be done. If we sitting there like, oh no, I don't want to talk to them about sex, but God covered all of
no,
all life.
no, no. I say
All right.
sex, I say penis, I say
Yep.
vagina, I
Okay.
say all of it because
All right.
it's, if I show you guys the things that she's written, you guys would be like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Hey guys, let's bring it up. Let's bring Dawn into conversation. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I'm
Dawn.
gonna keep praying for you.
Thank you. I
Seriously.
appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
And you're welcome.
Go ahead, Dawn. You want to speak into this, or you want to ask another question?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask a question. Thank you for sharing that. I know that's a very vulnerable thing to share. Um, I guess me as you know, I'm saying I don't have any children. And I know by the time I start having children, things are gonna get worse, probably even worse. So my question is like, as Christians, like how like at what point do we not shelter our children from the world because they're going to go out there and things that they're not exposed to is going to be shocking to them, right? And um I I feel like sometimes curiosity can make someone want to experience certain things. So I guess my question is like where is that balance where we don't really shelter them, but we show them what is out there in the world, but then we help them navigate the right
Hmm.
way. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I don't believe I personally don't believe in sheltering.
Well,
I
I
you
guess.
know
Go ahead, Dawn.
yeah like, I don't I personally don't believe in sheltering completely. I think that being able to really tell them what what it is, how it is although their brain may not be able to process everything, but as they mature and grow, they'll start to
Yeah.
ask more questions, and then you give them more. So I'm just trying to figure out
Hmm.
like at what point do we not shelter?
I think as early as they can comprehend things, you should begin to talk to them about the world and life because they're going to experience it, right? So think of it like sometimes when people think about sheltering, they think about hiding the kid away from the world. And then the opposite end of the spectrum is just throwing the kid into the world, right? So I think the appropriate approach is to have conversations with your kid as early as they can comprehend talking, right? And then shepherd them into the world together, right? So they can experience some things, right? Hey, honey, did you see that? Let's talk about that. Did you see this? Let's talk about that. So it's
Mm.
like, can we shepherd them into the world, right? So if, I remember with my girls, probably since they could understand and talk, I intentionally didn't teach them, told them that Santa Claus didn't exist, just as on a small scale, right? And so by
Hmm.
the time they're like, 4 or 5 years old, they understand that Santa Claus doesn't exist. And they understand why I told them Santa Claus doesn't exist. And then I told them there are a lot of kids out here that believe that Santa Claus exists. And so they was able to comprehend and understand at early ages that the presents they see on Christmas Day comes from mom and dad, not from Santa Claus, right? Even though all their friends around them are thinking about that, are thinking about Santa Claus, right? So, so I think as early as you can possibly begin to talk to them, that's when you do it. As soon as they can understand, as soon as they can talk, have the conversations, and based on the culture that it is at the time. So, like when my kids were younger, a lot of the homosexual issues were starting. It wasn't as deep as it is now. So I could propose to postpone that a little bit longer, right? Doing with your kids, you probably got to start talking about as soon as they can comprehend, right? Just because like society has changed and the issues of the day is going to be right in their face everywhere they go, right? So I remember growing up, I used to monitor what the kids watched on television, and I used to love Dot McStuffins, right? But there was something off about Dot McStuffins I couldn't figure out. I just didn't. It was just something that rubbed me the wrong way with Dot McStuffins. Then come to find out that the writer of Dot McStuffins was a lesbian, right? And and it was like I could tell the subtle cues of the subtle indoctrination into how through that talking character who was a black doctor, it was injecting subtle thought processes into kids, right? So I felt something's wrong with it, but I started researching the creator of it. So okay, this is why I'm sensing this, right? This is where it's coming from, and so the world is trying to get your kids at a young age, right? So we as parents, we got to get to our kids first as soon as possible, right? You can't put it off. So that be my thoughts doing. As soon as they can comprehend, they can talk, just start having those conversations with them.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
Good
I
question.
agree because I want to I want to homeschool my kids as well. So my future
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Even going to private school, like my girls go to Christian private school, and I set them down. I said, look, you guys, we're going to Christian school. You're going to be surrounded by the Bible and the Word, but guarantee you, every kid here is not living that lifestyle,
Hmm.
right? So don't get shocked, right? If you hear something, see something, because they say they're Christian outside, that don't mean they are on the inside, right?
Yeah, yeah. Can I say
Yeah, go
something?
ahead.
I was I went to a Baptist Christian school before I went to public school, and my first exposure to sexual assault was in that school.
Mm,
So yeah, you cannot believe or hold to the fact that, oh, because they're in a so-called Christian surrounding, that they won't face these things. You got to head it off early.
hmm. Yeah, yeah, early. So early as possible, early as possible. Because like without information from the parents, the society will fill it in for us. So yeah. I had a thought for you, Latoya. I would suggest that you, your husband, your daughter, and you think you got an 8-year-old too, right? Um, I would suggest you guys take a 1 week vacation somewhere, and you say we're not using any devices for a week as a family, right? Like no phones, no tablets, nothing, right? And then just for 1 week, you guys experience life together as a family. And what's going to happen, you're going to notice probably a deeper connection with everybody because they won't have the distraction of the other inputs that's coming into them, right? So a lot of times we need to take a dramatic detox from all the devices, right? And a 1 week detox, it will do wonders for people. Like the first day or two, everybody be jittery and fidgety and stuff, but eventually it'll go away, right? Then they'll start the sky look brighter,
Man, listen, I don't
everything
know if
look
that's
brighter,
gonna, my
right?
husband might object to that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. My husband might object. See,
No, yeah.
I go on a social media fast for like a whole year. Like I could stand, be away from social
Hmm.
media, turn the devices off. I get so much done when I'm not scrolling.
Yeah.
I kid you not, I ask myself, how did the women of yesterday function? How did they do the laundry? How did they cook the meals? How did they make sure the children were fed? How, how did they do all of that? Like I struggle in keeping the house clean. How did they do that? And then I turn off my social media and all of a sudden I'm doing the same thing. My
Got
house
all
would
his
be
time back,
clean.
right?
You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
just this 15 minutes, 20 minutes, um, hours. It's like, oh my
Hmm.
God, I'm just giving my time away, like just wasting away. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I may have to go. I didn't want to go so hardcore by just stripping her away of the iPad because iPads are just as
Well,
similar to cell phones.
you remember, I'm not just saying her, like everybody though. Like everybody got to play in the same boat. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all not doing this for a week together as a family, right? And it would be good to do it somewhere outside of your house, like take
Well,
a vacation somewhere.
we have a vacation coming up, but it's all the way in October.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some period of time, if it can't be a week, maybe take a weekend, but some period of time is literally no technology for this period of time. Mom, dad, to everybody, we're gonna be on the same boat, right?
Yeah,
Um, and this amazing the connections that can occur and the deprogramming that can take place too.
yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Zoom lines are open. We're here just talking about in office hour. We just talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Almost anything. But most of the things. So, go ahead, Stephanie.
I just want to give you some. I've been in a meeting out of town for work, and I wanted to give you some feedback on that one page, that homepage, the
Okay.
one that had all the things. I just wanted to let you know this, and I can give you the feedback later. I was not crazy about that page.
Okay. Tell me why.
Um,
Too much stuff going on,
well,
or
it to me, it doesn't distinguish above the fold. It doesn't really invite me, or it doesn't really tell me. I mean, it says it, but it doesn't. It's not inviting for me to like. want to keep scrolling. That's
Okay.
why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
very like generic, like it doesn't catch me. It doesn't like I don't see a problem. It's just, to me, if I don't know who your target market is, but okay, like if you were introducing this class and it was for people that already know CFE, fine. I think it'll be fine. But if you're trying to attract other people, I don't know if it would.
which one you talking about? You talking about the CFE one? Or you talking about the Amos Johnson one?
The Amos Johnson one, the
Oh, okay.
one
Okay.
that has,
Like
you're saying,
both of
yeah.
the marriage and the
Mm,
premarital. Okay.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So unlike the premarital one that grabs you with attention, the other one is kind of too
Right.
generic. Yeah, I
Well,
got you.
no, I'm saying the one that you have the links for both of them at the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Amos
Oh,
Johnson
okay.
one that has both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not feeling like I want to scroll. That's all.
Okay.
But I
That's
can give you specific feedback like later in the week because I'm at an out of town meeting and stuff.
okay. Well, your
Yeah.
feedback on the Premiere one is helpful. So when you see that, I definitely incorporate a lot of your stuff on that one. So
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
So what Stephanie's talking about? So I sent her another website that had like two services on it, one for premarital and one for marriage, and she's saying that one, the scroll factor wasn't good in terms of wanting to experience that. So that's what she was talking. She was getting feedback on that. So
And really, what I would do, if you want to do it like that, that's fine. But I would have, really 3 landing pages. You could have a landing page that has, well, I guess the one when you click on the link for the pre-engagement, that's the page. So
mhm.
so you could direct people directly to that page, or you could direct
Yeah.
people directly to the marriage page. But when
Hmm.
you combine the two, I want to see something compelling to make me
Hmm.
say, okay, well, this
Yeah.
might be a resource for me because I don't know, the wording was just kind of yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Hmm. Hmm.
nothing that was going to make me want to just keep scrolling.
Okay, that's actually good
Yeah.
feedback. That's good feedback because sometimes when you trying to combine things together, you lose the uniqueness of it too, though. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's good. Yeah. Anya asked, "What did we come? The name came up with? Should we move forward?" That was the name that came for the premarital one. Should we move forward?
Like it. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes
So
you put a name to it, you identify it. It other things flow. So I like that, Pastor Amos. Good job. Good job.
yeah, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, thanks to you guys for the feedback on that. Yeah, yeah. So what's definitely saying, like, since Claude made me be able to design that premarital one pretty quickly, I said, hey, can I just design one for marriage too? And then kind of design one big one that unifies both of them together, right? And then it was definitely saying the unified one is not as exciting as the individual ones. The one for marriage, still thinking through was called we can work it out. That was one for marriage. We can work it out. And the one for the premarital was should we move forward? Um, so yeah.
Are
So
you
yeah.
concerned about the new thing that they said about Claude, how they are
What watermarking and stuff on there?
watermarking everything? Yeah.
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, Image has been trying to watermark stuff all the time in the past, so that's not new. So that's not
Yeah.
new. Yeah. I mean, AI looks. I mean, AI looks like AI. You gotta do a lot of work to make it look like AI. Like even with my web pages I was doing, I had to go through and say a lot of stuff like, hey, don't do that, don't say this, remove this type of thing. Use these real images, don't use that. That looks terrible.
Well,
What I
I
really,
didn't know. I didn't know that page was made by AI. So it looked like
yeah,
the regular AI. I mean, it looked like the regular pages that you normally make. So if you hadn't
yeah.
told me, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of me and I had a lot of conversations to get
Oh, okay. Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I did like about using Claude though is really a good thought partner, right? So it's almost like I can see how people are building like relationships with their chatbot, right? Because to really use it to a full functionality, you got to kind of forget this is a machine and start treating it like a person. Like treat like it's a person right there next to you, asking it questions like, "Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?" And you almost got to trick your mind that this is not an actual machine giving you probability answers. And if you can do that, it actually can push you, and you can push it, and it creates an interesting thought partner as you're developing something. So I thought it was very interesting that dynamic. So yeah, but it did work really good as a thought partner to really, like I would do something on the site, and then it'll do something. I say, hey, why'd you do it this way? And it'll tell me why I did that way. I said, well, I don't like that. He said, you agree, or I think you should do this way. And so if you tone it, do it right, it can do a good push and pull to help you build something that doesn't look generic. And I didn't really do that front page. That front page is kind of like I was tired. Then I said, okay, let's put it all together. I just trusted their output, and thus that's what you get, right? Nothing compelling. So so yeah. But yeah, for those who are looking at the CFE landing page now, you give me some feedback on that if you got some of that before we go. If you want to take a look at that, it's in the chat. So
I don't have a lot of feedback on the CFP landing page, but on the marriage one, I think it's a excellent start. But the copy does not drill into the problem enough. So
which one? The work it out, or we should move forward? Which one?
Hold on, I only come on, work with me. Should we move forward? Should we
okay, go
move
ahead.
forward? It does not drill into the problem enough. So in this, from a copywriting perspective, to stand out, you have to dig into a pain point. The question of should we move forward? Yeah, a lot of people might have that in their mind, but why is it in their mind? Why are they concerned about it? What problems could it potentially cause? It's listing features, but it's not necessarily touching on the pain point.
I'll just write notes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically in copyright, it's not a lot of time in copywriting, you need to amplify what happens if you don't fix it.
Yeah. Or what problem they're already facing. I might be all in love and have the good feels, and I'm more concerned about that. And you need to break them out of that and say, hey, these are the problems that you're going to be looking at down the road if you jump into this with your feels and not your logic.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But otherwise, I'm actually really surprised that AI generated this. I'm not big on AI. I probably never will be. I come from a tech background, and I know some of the underpinnings. I don't love it, but I'm interested to see how it gets better and is able to draw from how people are feeding into it with the prompts and things, and see what it outputs. But yeah, I would say the other one, where it's the landing page looks good. I would just mention that maybe you say join the community, but like you've already established your presence in the Mighty Network. Maybe just play that up a little bit more, because that's where folks know you. That's where they interact with you. And if you're driving them there, you might need to.
Well, yeah. So that page will be for people who don't know about CFE.
Okay, gotcha.
Like everybody else would skip that page. We go straight to Mighty Network.
Okay, understood. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, then it looks good. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. So my thought with that one was like in the Bible app, after people read one of the Bible apps, when they click on the link, it'll take them here before they get jumped into the sea of CFE.
Some more insight into what you got going on. Okay, yeah. I like it.
Thanks. Yeah. One thing about with AI though, is like the feedback that she's giving me. I can easily test it with a new page in minutes versus trying to spend hours trying to incorporate the feedback, right? So I can take her feedback and say, hey, here's what one of my CFE members said about it. Generate me a new page based on this feedback. And then I can do that pretty fast. And I got 2 separate pages now that I can kind of look at and say, oh, okay, how does that look? How does that feel? And one of the things I like about, I used to do this pre-AI. I think building a website for a product or service is like creating a MVP or not MVP, What's the
Minimum
M stand
viable
for? Minimum
product.
viable product. Thank you, Art. Minimum viable product. I get tongue tied here. Minimum viable product, I think, can be a website because the visuals of your product or your offering on an actual web page that people could potentially click on and buy is good for you too, right? It helps you clarify things, right? It takes all the stuff you had in your mind, all the ideals you thought you had. You got to force yourself to put it in this sales page, right? And then let people look at it and see what they say about it, right? So it's much better because like if I try to tell you about the product, I can go on and on, but hey, I got to be concrete, put it on a web page, put it in front of people, and let them tell me stuff like, hey, you didn't talk about a pain point, or hey, you didn't give me a list of reasons why, or hey, you didn't do this, right? And now AI, I can take all that feedback and say, okay, now generate a new sales page based on this stuff, and you can see what stuff you want to incorporate in it. So yeah.
So,
All right, guys,
Pastor
Zoom lines.
Amon, I have a question
Go ahead, Stephanie.
regarding letting Claude do design a web page. What
Mm-hmm.
do you after it designs the page for you? Do you then have to configure the URL to go with it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing, right? That's the thing they don't tell you about, right? So now, once Cloud designs the web page for you, you have to download the files, and you take those files and you got to upload it to a server, that's visible from the web, right? So that means you got to have a domain name already, and you got to have an account on a server somewhere, right? Now there's some I'm using quotation marks, those can't see, an audio recording. There are some third-party softwares that'll try to mimic that process. We'll take it from AI design and try to push it to a server. I just feel more comfortable just taking the files from the system and then uploading myself to my own personal server, because that way you can control it at that point, right? So there's like a little technical step between Claude to server that you do have to kind of negotiate a little bit. But I mean, if people are used to using WordPress and setting up a WordPress site, you should be okay, if you're used to doing that. But if you've done that before, so
Also, as you mentioned, for MVPs, for prototypes, for just quick and dirty tests, those solutions where you just A, generate and B, deploy at the same place or exists and good to go for those like initial steps, I think it's okay to use. And then you can always download whatever worked and put it more old school manually to your server when it's like good for production, something like that.
Yeah, I think a site, I haven't used this company. It's called like Lovable. I think it's designed to be like a one-shop spot where you can build, design, and deploy at the same time.
Yeah, my son is building an app from Lovable. But I was just in a session today. I was telling him about my son building his app on Lovable, and he says he can build it on there. He says, but he said something like coders call that slop
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't.
they call it.
What do you say, Art? What do you call it, Art?
Yeah, I said we call it this, and many things are AI slop right now. So basically, anything where you didn't spend enough time, like for example, like Pastor mentioned today, like you or somebody said, "Oh, this page doesn't really look like AI," and Pastor said, "Yes, this is because I did so and so, checked and double checked, triple checked, spent few hours talking to it to make it not look like AI, not actually make like AI slop, which is very obvious when people just spend 2 minutes." Or 22 hours, that's a big difference. So basically, AI is just a new tool, but it doesn't mean that it's like a WordPress or any other tool we used to have. You can create the furniture, which will be slop, like if I'm just cut 2 pieces of wood and put them together with a nail, and I call it furniture. Okay, that's not probably the good furniture. Or if it's like 20 or 200 hours, somebody put it manual work for 200 hours and it looks like awesome finished furniture. The same thing here. Yeah, basically today we have professionals who spent so and so amount of hours and made awesome AI video which doesn't really look like AI. Again, doesn't really look like
Mhm.
AI slop. And we have tons and tons and millions and billions of apps and videos and audios, which really really like you can tell the first second it's AI. Yeah. So it's all
Yeah,
about
yeah,
how much you invest.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then so, but technically, Stephanie, when somebody says AI slop, especially from a coding standpoint, they're usually talking about like if you're a coder, you can code a system with as less lines of code as possible to make it run as fast as possible and as clean as possible, right?
And
The
also
AI
code.
systems right now, they use a lot of use word bloated code. They add a lot of extra steps that you don't need to add to where humans could have said the same thing in shorter sentences, right? Um, and so if you got a whole bunch of that extra code floating around in an app, and the app gets bigger and bigger, you get all these extra code that's kind of clogging up the process time. You really don't have a good uh, a product that could be deployed on a large scale to stand up to use, right? However, it's still great for that MVP, that minimal viable product thing, though, right? So it's good to go ahead and use a Lovable, build an app, get a few users, get some money, and then hire some people to make it better, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's very good approach. And
Yeah,
even with those systems like Lovable or any, like there's so many of them right now. Again, if you spend enough time, you can even still use AI to make the code better, especially if you have access to the code and can see it. Like people forget sometimes that, as you just said today, yeah, you can also continue to use AI to improve the work, like to reduce the
yeah,
amount of code, to make it more safe, more production ready. But of course, if you ever get any traction, you will end up with bringing more and more real human specialists on board to make it even more safe, more scalable, etc., etc. Yeah, but for
yeah.
the jump start, it's always great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's great. It's great. Yeah, and like I say, me working with it these last few days, and if you spend enough time with it, it speeds the process up. You get your ideas out there faster, sooner. Um, yeah. So, hey guys, I just dropped the AmosJohnsJr.com site in there. That goes to the page me and Steph was talking about that maybe wasn't as compelling, but it creates links to the separate product pages that we are talking about. So just get a feel for kind of how the stuff looks like. Um,
Uh, I have another question
yeah, go ahead, Stephanie.
about using Claude. Okay, my entire business is being, well, as far as the website and all that, is on this platform called Simplero, which is similar to Kajabi or something like that. Would
Okay.
I be able to use Claude to build something and then upload it onto Simplero?
Um, I don't know. It depends on how that system works. Like, so for example, um, I guess I could have, so like the way I did it, I have WordPress on my site right now that's running the main that runs stuff. And so the stuff I built sits outside the WordPress stuff. Still sits on my servers, but it sits outside. If I was to build something that to fit into WordPress, I would have to tell Claude specifically, hey, I'm trying to build something in WordPress. It's going to be a page. Here's the templates I'm using. And it will try to have to create something for that particular software package I'm using. It probably can, right? I wouldn't say it can't. I'm just saying that it'll have to be specific to that particular system. Now, a lot of these third party software builders for websites, they were designed for humans to just point and click on stuff, right? So it may or may not be as effective, with the AI systems because they were designed to be more point and click. Um,
Check
I
in.
will say if I go ahead.
I mean, Claude is integrating with a lot of vendors. Check your I've never heard of them, but the integrations that they already have set up, and see if either agentically or if there's a one-to-one connection. Claude would allow for, I guess, migration or integration into that system.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then even with some of the integrations, I've noticed some limitations because like I think Claude can integrate with, like with Mailchimp, for example. Even though it integrates Mailchimp, I think it doesn't. Well, I put it integrates with Gmail,
Hmm.
and even though it's integrated with Gmail, it still can't send out emails according
Yeah.
to the documentation. Yeah.
Yeah, so you probably have to set up a third another intermediary to do it. It's weird, but they might have some, I guess, a wireframe for getting it done, and possibly some instructions on how to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So. One thing I find, this is just my pet peeve here a little bit. A lot of people that talk about automation with agentic AI, to me, these are the same people that are internet marketers talking about sales page, content marketing. So they're thinking about automation from a particular kind of business, right? And then there's so many other kinds of businesses that could probably use AI differently. So just be careful about who you're listening to about how to design AI system, because if you listen to people who are in this coaching, selling digital product space, they think about it differently, right? So just be aware of that. Hey guys, we're actually over time by 10 minutes, so which may be good. I mean, we had a good conversation here. Anybody got any other final thoughts, final questions before we wrap up? So we don't
What
go too
time is
far.
prayer? I get two different things, 3 and 6, and I don't know what time I'm showing up, so I missed all of them.
Okay, what time zone you're in? Where
I'm
you
in
at?
Eastern.
Oh, you're in God time. Okay, all right, as I call it. All right, so so prayer is Monday mornings at 6 a.m.
Got it.
Eastern time.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, and now we do this one at 7 p.m. Tuesday Eastern Standard Time, and then on first Fridays at 7 p.m. we do a live Bible study.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and we use the exact same Zoom link, so we don't ever switch it. So the same. If you
Okay.
have this link, so you got everything. So
Awesome. Got it.
yeah, good question. Good questions. Yeah, thanks, Stacy. Yeah. All right. I think that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for the feedback on the sites. Feel free to share with your friends the CFE website. Maybe next time we'll talk more about the business of maybe me how I'm processing whether or not I should actually do this consulting, not this consulting, but this counseling thing or not. Because like one of the things I'm concerned about here, right? So like in order to actually build a solid counseling business, people got to know, like, and trust you before when they want to open up about their marriages or potential marriages, right? Now, so obviously, if I market that to you guys know, like, and trust me already. So you're probably more willing for me to do your premarital counseling and things of that nature, right? But that means at that point, that means I have this secondary service that I'm only really offering to CFE members, and then the question is, if I try to build it bigger than CFE members, that still takes a lot of time to build out another entire vertical, right? And so one of the things I'm actually wrestling with is really, yeah, I could do this, but should I do this? That's really a real question. Like, should I even try this? Or should I just leave this for internally for just CFE, right? That's kind of two things what I'm really thinking about here. Because really to build this out, it's not just about building a web page or sales page. You got to go out on socials, you got to present it, you got to do some offers, you got to do some freebies. So it's a whole thing associated with stuff like this. So unless you're selling something that people got to have, like water and gas, you got to do a lot of convincing, right? Just getting people to know, like, and trust you before they buy certain products from you, right? So that's one of the things I'm thinking about just from a business standpoint, is should I do it, right? I know I can, but the question is, should I? Is the real question. So, so yeah. But cool thing with AI, it allows you to build out the web page, get to look at it and get to ponder it, right? So, yeah. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up?
I don't have
All
a
right.
question, Pastor, but I have some feedback that I'll send you just in terms of email about CFE. But it looks good. It looks good, and it looks good for again directing traffic to it.
Yeah.
For those
Yeah.
of us
Yeah. That's the
who are a
goal.
part
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, it's really good about that. Just real quick, and maybe something to kind of build in there, questions about your faith comment here. There's some of those that you can, some of those websites that you can immediately have interaction with instead of reading everything all over again. But as a person is reading through this, I mean, we're hoping that the Holy Spirit is interacting with them at that time And then it may be an immediate response that they could say, yeah, I'm not a believer, but this is, and I'm not a believer, but am I still welcome here?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I get your point. Like, so like it reads like it's for believers, and the question
Yeah,
is, if a non-believer hits the site, what do they do with it? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And then,
Yeah.
that title says, you belong here if, and I
Hmm.
think that the perspective is, everybody belongs. It's if they want to make it a priority to be here. So
Hmm.
I don't know, I think we could talk a little bit more about that. Because there's a lot of verbiage there about you belong here if, and so I was sitting there thinking, reading that, and then I was thinking, well, do I? Well, do I not? Well, should I not join? Well, I don't fit that, but I fit this. So
Hmm.
so Bob, maybe being more direct is like, welcome. You have an entrepreneur assignment. We are here. You may have a local church. We are here to support you in your entrepreneur calling, more so than having a person kind of decide in that moment if they should, scroll down or click on more information.
I see what you're saying. I see. So the way I have it is like it's causing to think too much,
Yeah, I think
right?
so. If you might belong here So that
Yeah.
was kind
Yeah.
of
I
my,
got you. I got you. I got you. That's a
so
good point.
anyway,
That's a good point.
yeah, we could kind
Yeah.
of talk about that a little bit,
Yeah.
but I really like the three practices, one purpose.
Hmm.
That's what makes it unique, especially the godly counsel and making real decisions. But other than that, that's kind of what I was kind of looking at. It just if I didn't know what CFE was, I was kind of looking at it through that kind of frame of mind.
Good, good,
So
good, good. Yeah. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead and send me that and any other additional feedback you have, Deborah.
okay,
And everybody else,
great.
take a look at it. Send me your feedback. Just churchentrepreneurs.com. Let's go to it'll take you straight there.
Okay, and then I just
Hey,
wanted to ask you, are you familiar with what's going on in Dearborn, Michigan tonight
what's
with the
happening tonight in Michigan?
Dearborn, Michigan? No, so there's a call against Islamification in America, and so Jake Lang is leading it along with Pastor I think his name is Pastor Sewell out of Detroit, Michigan. And
Interesting.
so they merged up together and they called upon a crusade. And so the crusades are back. And
Interesting.
so
Interesting.
they had, hundreds or a couple, I think maybe hundreds, maybe a couple thousand of people that showed up at the city council meeting today in Dearborn, Michigan. Because this Jake Lang was there in Dearborn, Michigan about 2 weeks ago. And there was about 34,000 Islam's marchers, and they were
Hmm.
marching. And so then he went about a week later, and he was proclaiming Christ, and he got stoned, literally from rocks, and they were assaulting him, and
Hmm.
police weren't doing much. So then that's when he got together with Pastor Sewell there in Detroit, and so Jake Lang, he spoke at city council there in Dearborn, Michigan tonight. And so there was quite a lot of, protests. Both
Hmm.
Islams were there, Islamic people, believers were there, and then, those that were, Christians as well too.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's just, and they're calling upon the new Crusades, and there's already like 26,000 men and people who have signed up as being a crusader. So just wanted to kind of put that on your radar of kind of what's going on in America as well too. I think they're heading to Texas soon as well to do these crusades, and they kind of do a crusade in front of the mosque and things like that. So it's uh it's happening. It's happening in our
Okay. We'll
country.
have to take a look. I'm gonna take a look at it. You said that's just
Yeah,
starting at Dearborn, right? And Pastor Sewell, right? It's the name you gave,
Pastor
right?
Sewell, he's
And
the
Jake Lang.
pastor in Detroit, and then yeah, and then it's Jake Lang is the kind of the organizer of
Hmm.
the Crusades, yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah, really, really, it's a historical time right now for us as being a Christian, and you see both sides of it. You see, some people talking about the church not doing anything, the church being afraid to say anything, the church always getting called on as that's not Christian-like, and you shouldn't say that. And then you have others that are saying, no, enough's enough. You're believing and you're calling out for all infidels or non-Islamic people to be killed, and so it's not going to happen in the United States like it's happened in London, in the UK. So just really, really, is opening up, kind of my eyes of how Christians, how we all have on our different levels of faith and how they're expressed, so.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Deborah, for sharing that info for us. All right. Praise God. Praise God. All right. I think that is all we have for tonight. We're 20 minutes over, but good conversation. Good conversation. Maybe because it's after everybody's relaxed, it's afternoon time. It's not like the morning time, right? We got something else to do, right? So yeah. All right, guys. So I will see you guys again live next week, and I'll see you guys around these internet streets on our Daily Word podcast. And also feel free to jump into the conversation side of my networks, and just take a look at the main page and send me your feedback about what you like, what you don't like, and I'll see what adjustments and changes I'll make. So Deborah gave some good feedback about the I belong statement. So we're not, we are looking for a certain kind of person, but we don't want people to think too hard. Pretty much, if you're a believer, you got an offshore calling, and you want to be successful God's way, that's what we want, right? So so yeah,
simple as that. Just
simple as that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Simple as that, right? Yeah, it's not like a checklist. Like, okay, did I qualify? Right? It's not that, right? So that's good. That's a good point. That's a good point. It's not a sales page, right? So it's not a truth,
right?
Yeah. So me and Claude might have to have a talk about that one. Like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey guys, I pray that this replay of office hours was a blessing to you. If you would like to attend live, go to churchforentrepreneurs.com, click on the calendar link, and RSVP for our next office hours. If you'd like to partner with CFE, go to churchforentrepreneurs.com/partner. And don't forget, tell a friend about this podcast and also tell a friend about Church for Entrepreneurs. You guys be blessed, and I'll talk to you soon.